This is CNN.
Hurricane Andrew continues its deadly course. Residents along the Gulf Coast are racing to get out of its way. Andrew's punch all but knocked out Homestead Air Force Base. Floridians surveying the wreckage of their homes and their lives.
This is CNN's Prime News with Bernard Shaw in Washington and Cheryl Atkinson sitting in for Susan Rook at the CNN Center in Atlanta.
Thanks for joining us. Hurricane Andrew is on its way to Louisiana's southern coast, where high winds are the precursor of things to come. After wiping out much of southern Florida yesterday, Andrew continues its northwesterly path. Millions living along the Gulf Coast, including those in Morgan City, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Beaumont, and New Orleans, have been evacuated. For a weather update, we go to Karen McGinnis in Atlanta.
Now, Bernie, already with this latest radar image, we've seen these images over the last 8 hours. The eye is moving ever so close to the coastline, and as it does move closer, it may in fact become a little bit more jagged, a little bit more unpredictable. That is what will be dangerous with this storm system. But also these feeder bands, that is the moisture that's being drawn into the center of this storm. Some of them are filtering out across southeastern Louisiana, so just to the south of New Orleans. They're picking up some fairly gusty winds and some heavy rain. Now, with these feeder bands, they may contain some embedded thunderstorms, so consequently there is a tornado watch in effect until 4 a.m. You have that kind of situation when you see this dangerous weather, and the embedded thunderstorms can certainly produce tornadic activity. Already at Grand Isle, now that's located way down here, and it's in a low-lying area, as is much of southern Louisiana, and they've already picked up 65 to 75 mile an hour winds with an occasional gust up to 80 miles per hour. They're already reporting that large signs are blown down and a storm tide of 68 feet above normal that has already flooded the island. Last night there was mandatory evacuation there. Now, if you're plotting the storm 28.5 degrees north, 90.4 degrees west, that puts it just about 155 miles to the southeast of Lafayette, Louisiana. Take a look at the eye of this storm. That lets us know. Now, if this eye were jagged, we would think this storm was not very well together. But now this is a fierce storm. This eye is very clear. It's about 22 nautical miles. That means it's very tightly wound, and it's not going to be an easy storm to kind of diffuse. As you can see from our satellite picture, well, you remember it moving across South Florida. Well, last night we were giving you the coordinates as it moved through the Gulf. That allowed the residents along the Gulf Coast time enough really to start to prepare to move out of those low-lying areas, and there were evacuations, both mandatory and recommended evacuations. And just another reminder that some of these storms can travel inland about 100 miles and still contain hurricane force winds. Now, we anticipate that the storm surge for these low-lying areas, particularly in Louisiana and perhaps a portion of the northeast coast or the southeastern coast of Texas, could see a storm surge of between 10 and 15 feet. They're already beginning to pick that up, especially on the eastern side of the storm. That's those winds coming around. That'll pump a lot of that moisture, the storm surge, the rising water, like into the Lake Pontchartrain and through the mouth of the Mississippi River and a lot of those bayou areas. So we'll keep you updated, and we've got a lot more information throughout the evening. Cheryl?
Okay, Karen, as you pointed out, some pretty serious winds are already brushing the coast of Louisiana. Bill Delaney is in Morgan City with a report. Bill?
We are actually in Lafayette here in Louisiana, where we continue to get some showers. The sun is going down over our heads, and you know, it's kind of an eerie waiting game here. We are getting some word now that this thing, as it pushes the 30, 40, 50 miles up from the coast here to Lafayette, could reach Category 5 status. That would be devastating for this part of the world. There is one advantage to this particular situation in Lafayette tonight, of course. We were able, and the people of this community were able, to see the horrific images from Florida. Now, I'm standing here with Mayor Kenny Bowen of Lafayette, Louisiana, and I'd like to ask you, Mayor, the impact in this particular case of the people of your community having been able to see fresh in their minds what a hurricane can do.
Very fresh and very realistic. It was not staged. If we saw in this community anything, we saw Homestead, Florida, and we saw the devastation and all the damage that was done that affects the lives of these people in Florida, our neighbors, forever. They will never forget Andrew, nor will we. We're waiting for it, and as I suggested to you, we've been fortunate to have the opportunity and time and good weather up to now that they can prepare for this, and our plan for preparedness is underway.
You've gotten a little advance warning there. We were out a couple of hours ago, about 30, 40 miles south of here. As usual in these situations, there are some folks who are hanging back. Can you tell us about that a little?
Yeah, there's some fishermen down in Delcombe who are sitting on those boats out there, and I pray for them, because if it gets to be as intense as it's supposed to, I don't know where that shrimp boat might land tomorrow. But good things happen. You know, it's amazing the goodness of people, because Mayor Joe Riley from Charleston, Carolina, a friend of mine, called me this afternoon to offer any help that Charleston, South Carolina could be to Lafayette, Louisiana, and I really appreciated that gesture, and I know the people of Lafayette do. They just finished with Hugo, as you recall.
Everybody trying to pull together on this one. You have a very special economy here between the shrimp fishermen, a lot of sugar in the area. What could this do to your economy?
Well, agriculturally, high winds will destroy a crop, no question about it. But our economy is right now in the stages of change. We have been a dependent, very successfully dependent, and very wealthily dependent community and economic condition of oil and gas. Now, we've been touched more than probably most communities in America would ever hope to be. But our people are very stable. They're very...
It's going to be a tough night, though, for the shrimp fishermen and the sugar farmers out there.
Those people who depend upon weather and good weather, yes, this is not going to be their night.
Historically speaking, how significant is this night, the night of Hurricane Andrew's arrival, for your community, for Lafayette, Louisiana?
I don't think we'll ever forget it, as we have in the community, many people my age and my generation here in this community, with Audrey and Betsy and Daniel and Beulah. We've lived through some hurricanes, but nothing to equal what we are anticipating this evening.
Mayor Kenny Bowen, looking forward to a night that, one thing we can be sure of, it will make history in this part of the world. Few people hanging back south of here. They're going to face the night of their lives. All the evacuation centers here in Lafayette full. Thousands of people have passed through this town today, headed north to safety. It's going to be an interesting night. Back to you. Bill Delaney reporting live in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Thank you, Bill. Ahead on this edition of Prime News, residents of South Florida try to pick up their lives in the destruction and devastation left behind by Hurricane Andrew.
In today's business world, maintaining control is essential. And when it comes to controlling air travel costs, there's one system that's only for air travel. Has no annual fees, no credit limits, offers automatic insurance, and customized billing. The Air Travel Card Payment System, your corporate control tower. Call 1-800-854-9600. It's the smartest route.
Hello?
Jean? I thought you were getting out.
Oh, hi, Ellen. Well, the doctor said more tests.
I thought he said you were fine.
Well, I guess they just want to be sure.
So, when are the tests?
Well, he said they can't schedule anything right now. So he said as long as I'm here, I might have to stay until Tuesday.
Oh.
Maybe Wednesday.
Oh. How's the food?
Bill, it's your stockbroker.
Hi. Fine. Busy. Oh, you've got a pick for me. Let me get a pencil. Oh, I'm getting this all down.
Quick and Riley, a new breed of broker. 1-800-THE-BREED.
Thanks to an incredible new development at Pip Printing, you can now get these 4-color jobs for surprisingly few of these 1-color jobs. Advantage Color. One more reason Pip Printing is the best business printer in the business.
Behind the lurid headlines about Woody Allen, the real story of the genius director and his young love, plus tennis champ Tracy Austin on the real lives of young sports stars. Tonight, Larry King Live, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Residents of the Florida Keys can breathe a collective sigh of relief. Andrew, of course, blasted through Florida, but apparently did little more than sprinkle the Keys with light rain and a few gusts of wind. That's what Coast Guard and Navy officials tell CNN now that we're finally able to get some information out from there. Apparently, there are still some problems with the phone lines, and some residents are without power. But the Key West Airport and most local businesses reportedly were up and operating today.
The level of destruction is beyond compare for those who call Homestead, Florida, home. There aren't many homes left there. The Air Force Base at Homestead is almost a total loss. Two $14 million aircraft that could not be flown out were destroyed, along with hangars and several other buildings. More on the situation in Homestead from CNN's Brian Cabell.
It is a field of crumpled metal and shattered dreams, prized possessions that Andrew transformed into debris. The Merritts have a floor, but no walls, no roof.
Had me so disturbed, it just boiled me down to one thing, just be patient as I can and start from scratch again.
Merchants will also be starting from scratch. National Guardsmen and police are trying to protect what is left of value. Only a handful of looters arrested so far.
I had 2,000, no less than...
Suspected looters here, a wad of money seized, a trunk full of beer, but no arrests. The few stores that are open are jammed. No one's searching for gourmet meals.
Chips and some snacks. We would need some ice, charcoal, something to keep us going.
You need water to keep going. That's why more than 300 residents lined up in the heat for it.
I'm trying to place an emergency call to...
Telephones are also precious and few, a lifeline to ask for help and to let relatives know everything's okay, more or less.
I was lucky. We thought we were going to die, but we have a house left. We're doing better than 90% of the people around us.
Those who had insurance fared better as well.
But first of all, your house has to be unlivable.
It's unlivable.
A makeshift insurance office on the sidewalk. The Perez family has a sort of insurance. A family member who drove down from Athens, Georgia, with a load of food.
Family. You got to be with the family. And time like this, you got to be with friends and family. You got to find out where they're at, what happened to them.
What happened to most of them was not pretty. Andrew kept his visit to about 6 hours, but he won't soon be forgotten. Total damage to South Florida, an estimated $15 to $20 billion. One local disaster official said Tuesday, South Florida will never again be the same. Brian Cabell, CNN, Homestead, Florida.
Being in a hurricane is frightening enough, but living with the aftermath can be pure misery. CNN's Charles Jaco shows us why.
The temperature and the tempers are soaring in Miami. The wait for ice is 3 to 4 hours. There's no electricity, so ice is the only way to keep food relatively fresh. As for gasoline, there isn't any. Miamians have to drive miles to the suburbs for gas.
This is really horrible. We've been waiting in gas for almost a half hour, and we have like another probably half hour to wait for gas.
Down in South Miami, where I come from, US 1 and 17th Avenue, there's no gas, all the stores, no lights, telephones are down. So we got to do whatever we could to try to get some food.
Electricity and telephone service may not be restored in some areas for weeks.
As you know, in Hurricane Hugo, it was a matter of many weeks, 5 to 6 weeks in some cases, before customers got back their service. We don't think it'll take that long, but we can't tell you now exactly how long it will take.
With phone lines down, people line up to call from some of the few working payphones.
I guess we can get it in the car. Can we get the car down here?
More than properties gone, some dreams, like Ron Strauss's home in Biscayne Bay, were also battered.
I feel like quitting, but something about the American dream doesn't let you do that. And that was my dream, and I'll try and do it once.
Others who've lost everything are simply taking what they need. Miami already has one of the nation's worst crime rates, and even with National Guard help, police are spread very thin. There are fears that another storm could soon hit this area, a storm of crime. Charles Jaco, CNN, Miami.
More medicine and basic supplies are on their way to Florida, where emergency teams say they have treated so many casualties from Hurricane Andrew that they're running out of supplies. Federal disaster officials say 100,000 ready-to-eat meals are being jetted in to feed hungry hurricane victims. Emergency supplies and relief workers are now being positioned along the Louisiana and Texas coasts, while officials in Washington are trying to estimate how bad it will be if and when Andrew strikes again.
The worst-case scenario is that it goes in, I think.
especially into the New Orleans area, with full force and dumps a tremendous amount of water internally. If it stays off coast, this is a tight eye on this, a big hurricane. It has a lot of veracity, but we think if it comes in directly into New Orleans, that's a very bad case. If it snuggles right up to the coast and keeps working the coast all the way down, then we run into another compounded problem, and that is an extensive geographic area, multi-states, that we'll be dealing with.
Hurricane victims who need assistance can call this number for help, 1-800-462-9029. That number is for hurricane victims only. We'll continue to keep you up to date this hour on the deadly path of Hurricane Andrew, and we'll tell you about those whose homes and businesses could be the next potential casualties of the powerful storm.
That Michael?
Yeah, starts college next year.
How's mine? When Mike told me the price of his first choice.
I know what you mean. I got this broker at Payne Weber. She put me in the zero coupon.
To cover college. Huh. Well, when did she do that?
It's got to be 10, 11 years.
10 years ago? How did she know that's what you needed?
She asked.
Of all the things around your house that need batteries, there's one thing that needs a good, fresh battery most of all. See your Allstate agent for a free home fire safety brochure. And please, check the battery in your smoke detector often.
Willie Mays, Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth. 3 sports legends now on the legendary box. Wheaties limited edition collector boxes. Get them before their history.
Some people are still wondering if PIP does multicolor printing. The answer is yes, we do a little. Enough to fill this little football field every day. Color printing. One more reason PIP printing is the best business printer in the business.
I remember her tickling me around my thighs.
You're taught that you must not tell.
Nearly 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 7 boys fall victim to incest. Now the survivors are breaking the silence. A CNN special Monday.
As the hurricane makes its push along the Louisiana coast, there is as much concern about the surging tides as there is about the forceful winds. CNN's Mike Capps talked with some of the people of Morgan City who are taking refuge on higher ground.
Residents of low-lying areas flock to Morgan City's municipal auditorium, set up as an evacuation site. Many are hurricane veterans, having ridden out storms before, but not one packing winds of 140 miles an hour.
I'm not afraid because I've lived through so many, but I don't want to be where it's hit hard. Now, they tell me this time it's the water.
These people's homes are located near swamps, rivers, and bayous. While a direct hit by a hurricane scares them, the storm surge's high tides cause additional concern.
We'll probably shut down in 2 or 3 hours and come back after it gets in.
This is a scene repeated countless times in South and South Central Louisiana. At George Campbell's restaurant in Boutte, Louisiana, workers boarded windows. Campbell does not want to close, but his workers want to evacuate or ride out the storm with their families. Further southwest of New Orleans, in Des Allemands, commercial fisherman Marvin Dempster readies his home for Andrew. Wife Christine fears for the safety of 5-month-old Travis.
I'm not scared for me. I could ride it out, but it's him. I think about what I'm going to do with him. Stocked up on baby food. That's about it.
Marvin himself wants to ride out the storm.
I got a boat in a bayou, and I got to keep an eye on that.
Marvin Dempster says he'll continue watching Andrew's progress, and he may change his mind. Forecasters say Hurricane Andrew should come ashore sometime tonight, so it appears New Orleans has been spared a direct hit from Hurricane Andrew. Mike Capps, CNN, Morgan City, Louisiana.
Andrew is not the only force of nature ripping through the U.S. landscape. Coming up on Prime News, today's other stories, including updates on forest fires that have forced thousands of evacuations.
Now, Billy, can you stand up?
I'll try.
That's good, that's good. Now, can you walk to that table over there?
I don't know.
Walk to the table. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah.
You know, your mama's going to be real happy to see you walking.
All right.
Imagine a month in paradise with nothing to do but everything you've ever dreamed of.
Sounds like heaven.
The critics call Enchanted April a seductive fairy tale. 4 stars, lovely and lyrical. 2 thumbs up, romantic, warm, and funny. If you liked A Room with a View and Howard's End, you'll fall in love with Enchanted April, rated PG. Now playing at select theaters. Check local listings.
Oldsmobile redefines quality. Here's proof. Call 1-800-THE-TEST to get independent test results from a 100,000-mile real-world test of the new Oldsmobile Achieva against Honda Accord and Toyota Camry. Learn how Achieva outperformed Accord and Camry in total cost, which includes maintenance, repair, and operating costs. You'll even get a free video documenting the test. Achieva, quality redefined, from the company that went far enough to prove it. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Coming this fall to CNN, 6 one-hour specials every voter should see. Democracy in America. We'll examine racial tension in this country, the outlook for creating jobs and employing Americans, how to make the government work again, profiles of the vice presidential candidates, Bill Clinton, where he comes from and what he's done, and a look at George Bush's political career. Democracy in America, beginning September 20th, only on CNN.
Firefighters in California say they are halfway to containing the state's worst forest fire in 5 years. In less than a week, California and Idaho have had huge areas destroyed by fire. Hundreds of homes are ashes. A fire in Shasta National Forest in Northern California forced thousands of evacuations. Controlled burns are being set to rob the fire of fuel. But at least 2 small towns have been destroyed by flames. The biggest of the western fires, more than 250,000 acres, is in Idaho's Boise National Forest. Authorities say it's about 70% contained.
Tomorrow, President Bush is expected to declare a no-fly zone over southern Iraq. Any Iraqi planes flying south of the 32nd parallel would face possible Allied attack. CNN's Tom Mantier is in the Persian Gulf with the men who would patrol that new danger zone.
These planes aboard the American aircraft carrier USS Independence would most likely be the first over the skies of southern Iraq. Now operating in the Persian Gulf south of Kuwait City, it would be the F-14 Tomcats and the F-18 Hornets aboard the carrier that would be used to prevent any Iraqi airplanes or helicopters from operating south of the 32nd parallel.
If the scenario plays out the way it's envisioned right now, that they would be given adequate warning by diplomatic notice, and we would indicate to them that it would not be safe to fly in that area. To me, that would be sufficient warning.
No warning shots?
I wouldn't anticipate any warning shots.
Below deck, pilots are doing what they've been doing for months, training. Before and after each mission, they meet in this room for briefings.
Hitting 450 at the 90, coming around, hitting your numbers.
On small TV sets, other pilots are shown being catapulted off the deck, while others sit and wait their turn. These F-14 pilots don't talk much about what tomorrow might bring, but they say they're prepared.
We train as if it's going to happen each day. 2 months ago, we trained like it was going to happen the next day. You know, a year ago, we trained the same way.
We're not training to a certain level of fighter pilot, Iraqi fighter pilot, or whatever. We're training to as good as we can be.
Sometimes you can let down a little bit, but when you're out here in the Gulf and you know that something could be happening tomorrow or tonight or maybe in a week, you just are a little bit more on edge. You want to check out all your systems.
The systems are being checked out nearly round the clock. Flight operations occur here both day and night. If the no-fly zone is imposed over southern Iraq, American and Allied planes could quickly open a protective umbrella. Many of these pilots flew combat operations during Desert Storm. They all realize the importance of controlling the skies as quickly as possible. While some of the military might may be in position to control the skies over southern Iraq, the diplomatic cooperation necessary to keep the planes airborne apparently has not been completed. Providing landing strips in the Gulf region for U.S., British, and French warplanes is still under discussion. Until those discussions have been completed, it's not likely there will be any U.S. warplanes flying over southern Iraq, and until the British and French join the operation, it probably will not start. Tom Inzier, CNN, aboard the USS Independence in the Persian Gulf.
President Bush talked about Iraq today as he and Bill Clinton each went before veterans to defend their records on certain military matters. The president was first to speak before the American Legion in Chicago. He said when World War II came, he was scared but willing to serve. Bush also said he did the right thing by not going after Saddam Hussein. He said in his words, he's in the business of stopping aggression, not the business of slaughter. Clinton's turn came 2 hours later. He asked the veterans not to oppose him just because he did not serve in Vietnam. Clinton acknowledged he was against the war, but not, he said, against those who fought it. He also said he hoped veterans would not look to what happened 23 years ago, but instead toward the future.
The skies rained Serbian artillery shells in Sarajevo today. Fighting in Bosnia-Herzegovina's capital intensified as Serb and Bosnian forces angled for position on the eve of a new peace effort for what was Yugoslavia. At least 11 people were killed in today's fighting. A reporter for the BBC was among those wounded, along with at least 4 United Nations peacekeeping troops. A German transport plane was hit by gunfire en route from Sarajevo to Zagreb. It arrived safely. The search goes on for means to end the bloodshed. Delegates to the UN General Assembly approved a resolution calling for new measures, including the use of force to resolve the crisis. It condemns Serbian aggression and ethnic cleansing policies. The NATO allies have yet to agree on a military plan to protect relief convoys in the region. A spokesman says the allies will see what headway is made in peace talks opening in London tomorrow. As delegates gathered for those talks, European Community peace negotiator Lord Carrington announced his decision to step down.
Round 6 of Israeli-Palestinian peace talks began today in Washington. They started a day late because Palestinian delegates had been delayed at Israel's border. Palestinian spokeswoman Hana Nashrawi says Israel's new government does have a more positive attitude, but she says it's time to start talking about issues like Palestinian self-rule and Israeli settlements in the occupied territories. She also says U.S. loan guarantees to house Israeli immigrants present a, quote, new complication. Separate talks between Israel, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan began yesterday.
When Prime News continues again, we will be checking on Hurricane Andrew. After a deadly visit to Florida, Andrew is now chasing more people out of their homes. That story next.
Prime News continues, followed by Larry King Live after this local commercial break. Next on CNN.
Buy jewelry for less at Factory Jewelers. A huge inventory of diamonds, all qualities and sizes at fantastic prices. From the stunning marquise to the traditional round. Tennessee pearls, cultured pearls, and wholesale prices. Custom design your own pearl strand from the South's largest inventory. 14 and 10 karat gold, the largest selection in Tennessee at the lowest prices. Be sure to visit our in-store gem and mineral museum. Everyone saves at Factory Jewelers, 4805 Old Hickory Boulevard, Hermitage.
Hey, water lovers. H2O Man here. I'm the guy who makes sure Crystal Springs water comes from a natural spring source, and that it goes to our brand new facility where it's tested to make sure it lives up to Crystal Springs' century-long reputation for purity. So look for the bottles with Crystal Springs on the outside to be sure you're getting Tennessee's best-tasting water on the inside. Grab the phone now for our special introductory offer.
This is CNN.
The hour's top story is happening along the Louisiana coast. At least 1.5 million people have boarded up their homes and businesses and headed inland. Hurricane Andrew is beginning to blow ashore with sustained winds of 140 miles an hour. The eye of the storm has not yet hit land. It is about 140 miles southeast of Lafayette, Louisiana. A 10 to 15-foot storm surge is expected on each side of the eye. Hurricane Andrew swept across southern Florida yesterday. The damage is staggering. At least 12 people are dead, 50,000 homeless. Some 800,000 homes and businesses are without electricity. Andrew may end up being the costliest storm in U.S. history. Damage estimates in Florida range from at least $15 billion to perhaps $20 billion.
After viewing the devastation Andrew imposed on Miami, most people on the coast of Louisiana are getting out of harm's way. And as we switch live to our man, Jeff Flock, on the scene in Morgan City, Louisiana, I must tell our viewers that because of weather conditions, our picture and indeed Jeff's report might be disturbed. So, Jeff, we come to you now for the latest.
Bernie, it's a chancy proposition to bring you these live pictures from Morgan City, Louisiana. This is a town not far from the coast of Louisiana, not far from the Gulf Coast. This ground that we stand on tonight was, of course, once swamp, not particularly high ground, not particularly dry ground, even when a Category 4 storm is not bearing down on it. Stike, I don't know if we can see behind me and take a look at some of the trees. You can already see very easily the effects of this hurricane coming on shore. We're getting a lot of rain right now and a good bit of wind through the treetops. There you see the Spanish moss perhaps hanging on those trees and blowing. We are outside the municipal auditorium here. Johnny Spinella is a city worker who has been through hurricanes before. Johnny, first of all, you've got a lot of folks inside this auditorium tonight because it's a shelter, about 500 folks. You at one time weathered out a hurricane in this very building. What was that like?
Right. Well, I was a policeman at the time, and we spent the night of the hurricane inside the building, and it weathered real good.
That was Hilda.
Yes, that was Hilda, and that was a tropical, probably a 3 on that one.
Well, they're saying 4 here now. What is your sense here? Why are you not gone to higher ground?
Well, we work for the city, and we have people that just can't get out, that don't have the funds, the money to go travel and stuff, so they have to have a place to stay, and we are shelter, and we just have to stay with them.
Okay. You plan to stay here throughout the night. What do you expect? You've seen serious storms here before. We're going to see water here. What are we going to see?
No, I don't think we're going to see that much water unless something happens to the levees and stuff. I think our levees and seawalls are enough to handle up to a 20-foot surge. So I don't really believe it would be that bad. We're going to have a lot of rain and wind. We'll have a lot of wind damage.
Okay. Johnny Spinella, thank you. We'll be with you throughout the night. As we said, we are intending to bring you live pictures throughout this evening as Hurricane Andrew comes here. We are told that we are dead in the path of it here in Morgan City. About 60% of the 15,000 people that live here have evacuated. But that still leaves quite a few folks here, many of them in this shelter behind me. We'll be live inside there later to see how they are weathering it, and we'll let you know how we're doing as well. For now, I'm Jeff Flock, CNN, reporting live from Morgan City, Louisiana.
All right, Jeff, let's get the latest on Andrew from the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables, Florida. Here's Bob Sheets. Bob?
Hi. Yes, indeed, this hurricane is moving right toward Morgan City at this time. The eye wall region is approaching that area. You see the eye of the storm right here. Morgan City sets right in here. So, indeed, it looks like it's going to move right over Morgan City.
Okay, Bob Sheets, we'll be back in touch with you throughout the evening. Thanks for standing by. While the storm roars toward Louisiana, people in South Florida work to piece their lives back together. The one place that was blasted is Naranja, south of Miami. CNN's John Zarella reports on a community laid largely to waste.
From the air, the breadth of the destruction is clear and sickening. Mile after mile, street after street wiped out. From the ground, it is evident that even concrete walls couldn't keep out the fury of Hurricane Andrew here in Naranja Lakes near Homestead, where the storm struck full force.
There's people building houses and put old people in them and sell them as beautiful communities, and they ain't got one piece of steel structure in any of these apartments within 1,500. There's 1,500 living communities in here, none of them are holding up.
While everything else around it was collapsed, this woman needed county workers to pry open the door of her home. Andrew left the door, but the storm destroyed much of what was inside. The scene was repeated at every home left standing, that is. A county bulldozer cleared off some of the street debris, but it was sent here primarily to clear the rubble so rescuers could look for bodies. It will take days, they say, perhaps weeks, to go through all the wreckage. Looters have already been through much of it. Only a shotgun keeps them away.
Turn your back for 5 minutes. There's 15 of them in the store. 15 of them.
And no one can even guess how long it will be before there's any relief for these people. John Zarella, CNN, Homestead, Florida.
We'll continue to keep you updated on the hurricane. And in medical news, chili peppers may be just what the doctor ordered for allergies. Coming up on Prime News, a burning sensation that could stop the sneezing.
The Rediscover America poll, a continuing series from Chrysler Corporation. Today's issue, should teachers be required to pass national competency tests? Sister Lourdes Sheehan, Secretary for Education, U.S. Catholic Conference, says no.
I'm opposed to a national competency test because I don't believe that you can measure a person's talent for teaching. Just because a person has information is no indication, in my judgment, that the person is going to be a good, qualified, competent teacher. Education is all about inspiration, and therefore we need teachers in classrooms who can inspire people.
Here with a differing viewpoint is William Bennett, former Secretary of Education.
The American educational system needs standards throughout. One place that we need to have standards is in the licensing of teachers. We need to know what teachers know and what they don't know. Teachers say they're like other professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants. They're all tested. Teachers should be tested as well. I would say 20% of our teachers are very good to excellent. Another 30 to 40% are competent, and 25-30% shouldn't be there.
When we return, results from Chrysler Corporation's Rediscover America poll.
Chrysler Fifth Avenue at $22,000, the perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense.
Now get $1,500 cash back on Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
Should teachers be required to pass national competency tests? 89% of those surveyed said yes. 7% said no. 4% were undecided. The Rediscover America poll, an ongoing series sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth and your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
Smokers may be able to add cataracts to the list of potential health problems linked to the habit. 2 new studies find those who smoke 20 or more cigarettes a day may double their chances of developing cataracts. However, those who smoke less than a pack a day seem to be at the same risk as non-smokers. 3 million Americans have the disease, which clouds the lenses of the eye and can lead to blindness.
An ingredient in spicy chili peppers is being touted as a treatment for asthma and allergies. The idea is experimental, but CNN's Jeff Levine reports it's nothing to sneeze at either.
What's it like getting a dose of capsaicin or chili powder sprayed in your nose?
It's burning, really severely burning. It starts immediately.
The reaction isn't surprising, but the potential use of the substance is. Capsaicin may ultimately prove to be a treatment for some kinds of allergy or asthma. About 20% of the people who go to the doctor for the treatment of allergies don't have anything obviously wrong with them. Perhaps a drug based on capsaicin could offer these people some kind of relief.
It is probably that group of people that stirs people on to look for new kinds of treatment.
Capsaicin is known to desensitize nerve endings. What Niclario and his group are trying to show is exactly how that happens, and is there any damage in the process.
It's clear that when you put capsaicin in the nose of anyone, it has a very unique effect. It has a very strange burning sensation, which lasts for a few seconds. There's a lot of outpouring of secretions.
The theory is capsaicin triggers the release of chemicals in the nose called neuropeptides. They cause irritation and inflammation. But research at Hopkins shows that after repeated sprayings with capsaicin, that response diminishes. It appears the offending neuropeptides have been significantly reduced. Perhaps the desensitized nose will be less responsive to other hazards lurking in the environment.
With decreasing reactions with further repeated doses of capsaicin, that we hopefully may be able to decrease reactions to other kinds of substances as well.
Asthmatics may also benefit from the chili powder derivative, but there are problems.
It could be a useful approach to the treatment of asthma, but at the same time, blowing something irritating into the lungs of asthmatics wouldn't sound like an appropriate approach.
It may be that capsaicin will ultimately be combined with some kind of anesthetic to dampen its bite. Capsaicin treatment is like fighting fire with fire. Other studies show capsaicin cream is effective as a treatment for certain types of nerve pain and itching. More possible uses for the fiery analgesic could include arthritis, herpes, and a painful disorder known as cluster headache. In the meantime, capsaicin for allergy and asthma is experimental, and doctors warn you not to head to your spice rack for relief. Jeff Levine, CNN Medical News, Baltimore.
News from Medicine is brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb Company, makers of Excedrin PM, headache medicine, and it helps you sleep.
A night for Excedrin PM.
This day won't go away.
My allowance stinks. Your vacation canceled.
The check bounced. I can't sleep and my head aches.
You want Excedrin PM, strong aspirin-free headache medicine you can feel good about, plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep.
Mother is staying indefinitely.
Make a bad day go away with Excedrin PM, and rest assured it's aspirin-free.
Tonight on Sports Tonight, lots of baseball to talk about, including Tom Glavine of the Atlanta Braves, who tries to become the first 20-game winner in the major leagues this season. We'll see if he can do it. Also, all the football signings, plenty of them, including Washington, tonight at 11.
Your recommendation for our business insurer?
Wausau, sir.
Wausau for workers' compensation.
And group health.
And pensions.
And property.
And
no one can beat their service.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know. He's coming back.
Good work.
For all your business insurance, it's the professionals from Wausau.
You want good service? And RES-PECT? Well, Mickey D's is the place. We guarantee we'll serve you ASAP and without an attitude. And at the drive-thru, we'll double-check your order so you won't have to. We'll treat you like a VIP, because we want you to be satisfied. But if something's wrong with our service, we'll make it right, or your next meal's on us. Hot, fast, friendly, and double-check. That's what you want, that's what you get. Guaranteed.
The United Nations continues its efforts to feed the millions of starving people in Somalia. For a village in central Somalia, help has arrived. CNN's Gary Stryker tells us the children are a top priority.
The United Nations Food Airlift is probing deeper into Somalia's famine area. This time to Hodur, a town that had received no relief food from anywhere until a few days ago. This cargo plane brings 17 tons of food for the children of Hodur. There are more than 6,000 young children here, the ones most likely to die in this famine. Relief workers believe at least a quarter of all Somalis under 5 have already died from starvation and civil war, at least one baby or child dying every minute. Famine victims come here every day from villages as much as 100 miles away. The only food they have is camel skin, boiled or roasted hard in the fire.
Poor people who their animals was died due to this civil war, due to this drought. The only chance that they can eat to survive is this animal skin.
Many children are just barely surviving.
This child, he have some hope, and if he get urgently something to eat.
That is now the mission of this UN airlift, reaching children as soon as possible with high-protein, vitamin-rich food. The next step is to get emergency food, medicines, and seeds to outlying villages by road, using larger towns like Hodur as staging areas. The outlook for that here is good.
It's an area which has been very stable, where you even have the police force functioning, where there is law and order. And it is an area where we really can put a lot of support.
So far, the Civil War has bypassed this town, and there's been little fighting here. But that could change with the arrival of food. Food that will save lives, but could make Hojur a target for the armed gangs that prowl this entire region. It would be far cheaper to deliver this food by road convoys from the port in the capital, Mogadishu. But the armed gangs make that impossible.
We've had so much trouble with looting and bandits that now we've decided the only way to get here is to jump over them with aircraft.
But this operation can reach only those towns with usable airstrips and adequate security. Airdrops may be the only way to get food to other areas. In Hojur, at last, there is now food for the children. Children who still cling to bits of camel skin when they get high-protein biscuits for the first time. Gary Stryker, CNN, Hojur, Somalia.
Farmers have always grappled with natural forces as they scratch out a living. Too much rain, too little rain, and early frost all can threaten crops. But now conditions caused by man also cloud the picture. In tonight's Earth Matters, CNN's Sean Caleb's reports on the arrival of smog down on the farm.
I'll plant this week.
10 acres of fertile North Georgia farmland. It helps keep the Fritchie's roadside stand stocked and customers coming back. But nature and nurturing can only do so much. Alan Fritchie says acidic ozone air pollution takes a toll on his fruits and vegetables.
But here's ozone right here. This is your blossom end rot right here. Prime example.
This has nothing to do with the Earth's protective ozone layer. This is something entirely different. Ozone pollution comes chiefly from auto emissions. We know it as smog.
All you got to do is drive in down here when the conditions are right, and there's a brown haze up for about 50 or 100 feet. A brown haze. You can see it. You know, what is it?
It's Fritchie's enemy. Atlanta's filthy air is only 100 miles from Fritchie's Clarksville farm. Prevailing winds bring the grit and grime to his patch of farmland, and the damage is done. Windbreaks and shade cloth can only shield his crops so much.
And there's nothing I can do about it. There's no sprays, nothing magical. There is nothing I can put on to fix that.
Fritchie doesn't hold a science degree. He's a fourth-generation farmer who's gained his knowledge in the field. Fritchie's been frustrated by extension agents who say summer smog is not killing plants.
Soil, fertilizer, genetics, seed, poor farming practices. You know, it's easy to blame it on something else.
But many agriculture experts back up Fritchie's concern.
Ozone is one of the, if not the most severe problem we have in agriculture in the United States.
USDA plant physiologist Walter Heck says many small farmers don't recognize ozone damage. Acidic pollution drains the life out of green plants. The slow death is often mistaken for a seasonal change.
And I think most of us know that in the fall you see a lot of your crops, leaves die, they turn yellow, and they fall off. Well, ozone causes this to happen earlier.
That, in turn, reduces the annual yield and disrupts the farmer's fine line between profit and loss.
It's pushing a lot of them over the edge. You can go down on the state farmers market down here, and some of them guys, they'll say, that's it, I ain't doing no more. I'm plowing it up, putting it in pasture, or putting it in pine.
Fritchie is joining the chorus calling for tighter air pollution controls on cars. He says unless there is a dramatic lifestyle change, a generations-old lifestyle, that of the small farmer, may be wiped out. Sean Caleb, CNN, Clarksville, Georgia.
And Nick Charles now with the latest from the sports world.
The NFL 49ers today got their San Francisco treat back in the fold when they signed holdout veteran wide receiver Jerry Rice to a multi-year, multi-million-dollar new contract. Rice is arguably the best receiver in football, and his salary now reflects it. The deal is 3 years for between $7 and $8 million, making him the highest-paid non-quarterback in the game. Rice was back with the 49ers at practice today, armed with that fat contract and raring to go.
I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm anxious. I'm anxious to really just get out here and practice and catch a football and just get back into the flow again. I knew it was something that was going to be very difficult for me, and I had prepared myself, got myself ready for this situation, and it worked out.
Well, Jerry Rice is now the highest paid receiver in football and maybe the best, but close behind is a guy who's never played a game in the NFL. Desmond Howard, who won the Heisman Trophy at Michigan last season, finally signed his contract with the Washington Redskins today in a deal worth an estimated $6 million over 4 seasons.
Pleased as punch. Happy to be here. Couldn't wait to get started. You know, the anxiety was setting in, so wanted to get here, get everything started, start playing.
Tennessee football coach Johnny Majors had heart bypass surgery today in Knoxville, which doctors described as successful so far. Majors is 57 and underwent an angioplasty in May, but became ill while soon after. He was examined yesterday, and it was determined he needed the bypass procedure, which was performed this morning. Majors is entering his 25th year as a head coach, the last 15 at Tennessee, and it's unclear when he'll be returning to the sidelines. Tennessee offensive coordinator Phil Fulmer will take over on an interim basis until Majors is healthy enough to coach again. Well, there's a lot of baseball going on tonight. Tom Glavine of the Atlanta Braves tries to become the Major League's first 20-game winner. He's pitching now at home against Montreal. We'll have a complete wrap-up on a full half hour of CNN Sports, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. But now, Prime News continues with Cheryl Atkinson.
Nick, thank you. Still ahead, the latest on Hurricane Andrew, now focusing on Louisiana. And while thousands scramble to get out of Andrew's path, a brave few prefer to fly right into the eye of the storm. We'll take you for a wild ride when Prime News continues.
Can you open it up?
I want my kids to grow up in a healthy environment. I want them to breathe clean air. I'm for nuclear energy because it doesn't burn anything. It produces no air pollution, no greenhouse gases. In fact, it's one of the cleanest sources of electricity we have. When I was in college, I was against nuclear energy, but I've reached a different conclusion. It means cleaner air for this planet.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
Introducing new Lemon Fresh Spray and Wash. At last, the proven stain-removing power of spray and wash with the freshness of real lemon. For a whole new way to get out what America gets into.
Nabisco shredded wheat. It's just good stuff.
On CNN tomorrow, victims of Hurricane Andrew. How you can help on Morning News. Then on Cryer and Company, a campaign to fight gangs. Why does it have African Americans up in arms? All tomorrow on CNN.
Hurricane Andrew continues its relentless swirling push towards Louisiana. Forecasters are predicting the storm will hit somewhere between Lafayette and Lake Charles. Right now, Andrew is moving to the northwest at about 13 miles an hour, packing winds 140 miles an hour. Residents of low-lying Cajun country are taking no chances, many of them spending this day boarding up and getting out of Andrew's way.
We have been showing you the awesome power of Andrew from the ground. Now a look at the hurricane from a perspective most people never see. CNN's Miles O'Brien takes us on a bumpy ride through the eye of the storm.
You're looking at a killer storm right in the eye.
Is this eye still about 30 miles?
The vantage point is the flight deck of a specially equipped Air Force plane flown by crew members who proudly call themselves storm trackers. Their mission to fly through the worst weather on Earth, becoming the eyes of hurricane forecasters. It was 12 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday when this flight departed from Charleston, South Carolina. The Mississippi-based crew evacuated here to escape Andrew's projected path. Flying into the turbulent night and through the morning, They return 13 and a half hours and 6 eye penetrations later.
What I'm trying to do up here is provide a nice, stable platform for the weather officer for his observations. We're trying to maintain the track that he wants, although he recognizes we have to deviate every now and then for some really hard stuff.
Commander Doug Otto flew a crisscross diamond pattern through and around Andrew, providing a 200-mile diameter look at the storm as it moved toward land. Weather Officer Andy Johnson monitored several instruments which constantly indicate barometric pressure and wind speed and direction at the plane's altitude of 10,000 feet. Radio-equipped canisters filled with weather instruments are dropped into the eye. Slowed by parachute, the canisters measure conditions from the plane to the surface. The data from the plane is continuously sent by an onboard satellite transmitter to forecasters at the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables, Florida.
We had to code the information and then relay it by voice. It was very slow and very tedious, and we could not get nearly the volume of data out to the forecasters we can now.
Data gathered by the plane on this mission indicated Andrew was gaining strength, but was still not as strong as when the hurricane hit Florida.
It is information that weather satellites alone cannot provide. In fact, meteorologists say reconnaissance flights like this one increase their accuracy in predicting hurricanes by as much as 25%.
There are times when satellites can do a very accurate job when we have clear eye hurricanes like this one, but we don't have the technology yet in the satellite area to be able to provide this kind of detailed information, which is needed to assess the true movement of the storm and be able to make a more accurate forecast.
Crew members, who are nearly all reservists living in Gulf states, see this as much more than a scientific mission.
We've grown up in hurricanes. They've affected us all our lives. We feel like we can help some of our communities and give something back.
But what about the danger? In all the years the government has flown these missions, only one plane has crashed. To a person, the storm trackers on this mission say they would prefer to ride out a hurricane at 10,000 feet.
Look at that, isn't that?
Miles O'Brien, CNN, Charleston, South Carolina.
That concludes this edition of Prime News. I'm Bernard Shaw in Washington. Good night, Cheryl.
Good night, Bernie. I'm Cheryl Atkinson at CNN Center in Atlanta. Here's Larry King with a preview of what's coming up next. Larry?
Thanks, Cheryl. We'll get an immediate hurricane update, of course. We'll meet great tennis star Tracy Austin and a major discussion on Woody and Mia. And included in it will be the famed attorney, you know who, next on Larry King Live. Don't go away.
Coming up, Larry King Live, followed by World News after a word from your local cable system here on CNN.
September is the perfect time to try pay-per-view. Find out how easy it is to bring Hollywood's hottest stars into your home. Don't wait another day to discover how easy it is to reach for the stars. Order a pay-per-view movie tonight.
Julio Cesar Chavez has won 80 fights and 4 championships. He's never lost. Most people think he's the best fighter in the world. Hector Macho Camacho disagrees. On Saturday, September 12th, we'll find out just who is Mas Macho. Chavez versus Camacho, WBC Championship, September 12th, live on pay-per-view TV.
Viewer's Choice is your ringside seat for Chavez versus Camacho, live September 12th.
This place is unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Look at all this beautiful furniture.
Look at these beautiful prices.
Yeah.
The Sprint's 11th anniversary sale.
325 White Bridge Road, Nashville.
We don't get out much.
Anymore.
Since we had Elizabeth.
But we have found something great to watch at home.
Aside from Elizabeth.
We order a movie on pay-per-view.
It's kind of like a great night out.
Only we get to stay home.
With Elizabeth.
Make the choice. Make your day pay-per-view.
When you think of quality custom picture framing, the first name in Nashville is The Frame Place. The Frame Place has an experienced, qualified staff to help you select the perfect combination of mat and frame. 3 convenient locations: Green Hills in the H.G. Hill Center, Donaldson Plaza in Donaldson, and Highway 70 and 100 in Belmead.
This is CNN.
Candidates make a lot of claims on television. It isn't easy to separate fact from fiction. If you have trouble knowing who to believe, what the facts really are, and how much is being left out, stay with CNN. As part of a continuing series called Democracy in America, we'll identify negative ads, misleading ads, exaggerations, and explain the strategy behind the spots.